Hello, my dear friend. In our exploration of the 5 Love Languages book, let's now focus on the language of love for children. We'll uncover ways to be aware and attuned to their specific love language. So grab your coffee and let's dive in. Does the concept of love languages apply to children? I am often asked that question by those attending my marriage seminars. My unqualified answer is yes. When children are little, you don't know their primary love language. Therefore, pour on all 5 and you are bound to hit it. But if you observe their behavior, you can learn their primary love language rather early. Bobby is 6 years old. When his father comes home from work, Bobby jumps into his lap, reaches up, and messes up his father's hair. What is Bobby saying to his father? I want to be touched. He is touching his father because he wants to be touched. Bobby's primary love language is likely physical touch. Patrick lives next door to Bobby. He is 5.5, and he and Bobby are playmates. Patrick's father, however, faces a different scenario when he comes home from work. Patrick says excitedly, "Come here, Daddy. I want to show you something. Come here." His father says, "Just a minute, Patrick. I want to look at the paper." Patrick leaves for a moment but is back in 15 seconds saying, "Daddy, come to my room. I want to show you now, Daddy. I want to show you now." His father replies, "Just a minute, son. Let me finish reading." Patrick's mother calls him and he dashes off. His mother tells him that his father is tired and please let him read the paper for a few minutes. Patrick says, "But Mommy, I want to show him what I made." "I know," says his mother, "but let Dad read for a few minutes." 60 seconds later, Patrick is back to his father, and instead of saying anything, he jumps into his father's paper, laughing. His father says, "What are you doing, Patrick?" Patrick says, "I want you to come to my room, Daddy. I want to show you what I made." What is Patrick requesting? Quality time. He wants his father's undivided attention, and he won't stop until he gets it, even if he must create a scene. The primary love language of a child is often based on their subconscious desires, such as receiving gifts, acts of service, or words of affirmation. These behaviors are motivated by the child's own emotional desires, and if they are not met, they may violate acceptable standards, express anger towards parents who did not meet their needs, and seek love in inappropriate places. Dr. Ross Campbell, a psychiatrist who first introduced the concept of the emotional love tank, believes that almost all sexual misconduct in adolescence is rooted in an empty emotional love tank. As a child gets older, the words of affirmation may turn to words of condemnation, as parents may not have learned how to communicate love in a language the child could understand. In most cases, parents love their children, but sincerity alone is not enough. To meet their emotional need for love, parents must learn to speak the primary love language of their children. The 5 love languages in the context of loving children can help parents understand and communicate their love in a more meaningful way. By understanding and addressing the primary love language of their children, parents can help their children develop into responsible adults and avoid violating acceptable standards. Let's look at the 5 love languages in the context of loving children. Words of affirmation. Parents often use affirming words to praise their children's physical appearance and abilities, even before they understand verbal communication. As children grow older, these words often turn to words of condemnation, such as scolding them for their failures, rather than commending their successes. This negative, critical, and demeaning language can be overwhelming for a child whose primary love language is affirmation. Hundreds of 35-year-old adults still hear words of condemnation spoken 20 years ago, such as, "You're too fat, nobody will ever date you. You may as well drop out of school. I can't believe you are so dumb," and "You are irresponsible and will never amount to anything." This negative language can lead to self-esteem issues and feelings of unlovedness throughout adulthood. It is crucial for parents to use affirming language to encourage growth and development, rather than condemning children for their failures. Quality time. Quality time is essential for a child's development and growth. It involves giving undivided attention to the child, from playing with toys to engaging in activities like building castles. As the child grows older, it is crucial to enter into their interests, such as basketball or piano lessons. This shows care, importance, and enjoyment for the child. Many adults remember their parents' love and care for their children, and if quality time is the primary love language, the child will allow for more time with them, even through adolescence. If quality time is not given in the younger years, the child may seek the attention of peers and turn away from parents who desire more time with their children. In essence, quality time is a crucial communication of love and care for a child's development. Receiving gifts. Many parents and grandparents often use gifts as their primary language of love, often buying many gifts for their children. However, if the primary love language of the child is not receiving gifts, the emotional impact may be minimal. If the gifts are quickly forgotten, the child doesn't express gratitude, or the gift is not taken care of, it may not be the primary love language. If the child responds with thanksgiving, shows others the gift, and takes care of it, it may be the primary love language. If a child has a primary love language for gifts but cannot afford many, it's important to remember that the quality and cost of the gift are not the main factors. Handmade gifts can be more appreciated than expensive, manufactured ones, and refinishing discarded toys can be a project for both parents and children. Ultimately, providing gifts for children doesn't require a lot of money. Acts of service. During a child's early years, parents perform acts of service for them, such as bathing, feeding, dressing, cooking, washing, ironing, packing lunches, running a taxi service, and helping with homework. These acts of service may be taken for granted by some children, but for others, they communicate love. Observing children's love language can help identify emotional importance and meaningful acts of service. For example, helping with a science project signifies "my parents love me," while fixing a bicycle means "I am loved." Consistently offering help with work projects indicates that love is expressed through acts of service. Physical touch. Physical touch is an essential emotional communicator for children, as research shows that babies who are handled often develop better emotionally than those who are not. Hugging, kissing, patting, and holding hands are all ways of communicating love to a child. However, teenagers may not appreciate such behavior in the presence of peers, but they still want to be touched, especially if it is their primary love language. Observe your children and watch how they express love to others. Notice the things they request of you, and notice the things they are most appreciative for. For example, your daughter's love language is quality time, and she often takes walks together during her high school years. However, your son would never walk with you, as quality time was not his primary love language. Parents often try to mold their children into the same mold by attending parenting conferences or reading books on parenting. However, each child is different, and what communicates love to one child may not communicate love to another. Forcing a child to take a walk with you to spend quality time together will not communicate love. We must learn to speak our children's language if we want them to feel loved. Most parents love their children deeply, but many fail to communicate this love in the right language, leading to emotional turmoil and misbehavior. It is crucial to express love in the right way, even if it's late. If you realize your older children are speaking the wrong love language, discuss it with them. Explain the 5 love languages, and discuss your own love language with them. If your children understand the concept of love languages, your discussion may open their eyes and encourage them to start speaking your love language. This can change your feelings and attitudes towards them. When family members start speaking each other's primary love language, the emotional climate of a family is greatly enhanced. So that's it for Love Language of Children's. See you in the next video.